What's poppin', man? Hey, look, man. Say, man, what's poppin'? What's goody? Goody? Good with y'all, boys. Look, man, we got another video. It's called The Biggest Crash Outs in NFL History. I already know the crash out where he take the helmet off, make the dude spin, and hit him with the helmet. I already know that's on there. I think that was a Falcon versus Panthers. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into the video. I ain't gonna hold y'all up no longer. Let's ride. Get you a snack, like the video, subscribe, and then tell your mama to come sit down and watch it with you. Come on, let's go.
These are the biggest crash outs in NFL history.
Oh my god.
This is serious stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Bro, before we get into the video, bro, if you play football, fam, and people always talk about like them punching the helmet, bro, if you get punched with the helmet, it don't hurt, but bro, it's the most annoying thing in the world. So you go punch back. You go punch back, bro. Like getting hit in the helmet, bro, when your coach is slapping your head, bro. It hurt. It do hurt your neck. It hurts your neck, bro. That stuff not fun. But it do hurt your hand when you punch it. You know what I'm saying? Either way, y'all both hurting. It's just adrenaline. Y'all don't feel nothing. You know what I'm
Because one
saying?
defensive end's crash out almost put someone in the hospital. In 2019, as the Browns vs. Steelers game was coming to a close, defensive end Myles Garrett decided he was not going down without a fight. Literally. Because when Mason Rudolph dropped back, Myles Garrett went for one final sack. And right after Rudolph dumped the ball, Garrett wrapped him up and took him to the turf. They started scrapping. Rudolph grabbed Garrett's helmet, and he took that way too personally. So he flipped the script, grabbed Rudolph's helmet, and swung that thing harder than Shohei Ohtani. And where did it land? Right into Rudolph's skull.
Oh my
Respect
god.
to Rudolph for just tanking that hit. Walking away with only a light concussion is a legit miracle. Whereas Garrett was not as lucky, because he got ejected, fined, and suspended indefinitely. And even though it should have ended there, Garrett needed to soften the heat. So he claimed the whole thing was caused by Rudolph calling him the N-word. Source? Trust me, bro. The NFL investigated, found zero audio evidence, and Garrett ended up just looking like a clown. But he wasn't near due. But T.O. did something way more random when he lost it, because after the Cowboys lost the playoff game to the Giants, Terrell Owens stepped up to the podium to take questions, which was already random, because the press expected Tony Romo to be the one there. See, everyone blamed Romo for the loss by using his bye week to take a vacation, so T.O. was there to set the record straight. But it definitely went a lot better in his head than whatever the hell this was.
You know, Tony, you guys can point the finger at him. You can talk about the vacation, and if you do that, it's really unfair. It's really unfair. It's my team.
Oh, he crying.
It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair. We lost as a team.
And man, what an iconic meme that came out of that crash out. But while he was cooking drama to help his career, Dominican Sue almost made a career-ending move when he lost his cool. When the Lions played the Packers on Thanksgiving, Sue got tangled up with Evan Dietrich Smith after a play. And instead of just standing up and walking away, Sue went into full assault mode. First, he pinned Smith's body to the turf. Then he shoves his helmet into the ground repeatedly. But apparently that wasn't enough. So as the refs are rushing in, he winds up and tries to crush Smith's arm. Dude was seriously trying to assert some dominance. So the NFL asserted dominance over him. Instant ejection, 2-game suspension without pay. And they even fast-tracked the hearing so he couldn't suit up for the next week. Sue swears it was an accident. But unless he was really excited to stand up, that was definitely a dude crashing out for no reason. Whereas Kyle Turley definitely had one. And it was valid.
Because when the Saints were playing the Jets in 2001, look at him, he got a mullet.
Saints QB Aaron Brooks got tackled by Damian Robinson. And while most tackles end when the player goes down, Robinson tried to bring him back up by folding Brooks in half and tearing his face mask to a neck-breaking angle. When Kyle Turley saw that move, he locked in. He sprinted into the dog pile, wrestled Robinson,
he's stepping on him.
Robinson's helmet off, and just fires it to the stratosphere right before flipping off the ref. Yeah, he got ejected pretty fast for that. He also had to take anger management classes and pay $25K in fines.
Bro, he wasn't even in the mix, bro. He just entered himself into it. The same cannot
be said about Andre Johnson, because when Cortland Finnegan and
That's who I was talking about.
The Texas Titans game in 2010, they
I had
already
the
hated each
teams
other.
all
So
wrong.
after 4 years of buildup, tensions were at a
Texans and
fever
the,
pitch, and they were at each other's throats on
Titans.
every play. Andre Johnson even told Cortland that he was going to tear his ass up.
Don't get frustrated. Come on, dog. You know I'm gonna tear your ass up. You know that.
And after 3/4 of back-and-forth insults and brutal hits, Andre Johnson just went off the rails. The second the ball snapped, Finnegan didn't even try to cover Johnson. He just went straight for his throat.
Yo.
Johnson responded by ripping off Finnegan's helmet. Finnegan then tears off Johnson's, but that was the fatal move.
Ooh.
Johnson was able to get behind him and just deliver a beatdown. Finnegan was acting way too cocky after getting up. Bro was literally on all fours getting hit by the wrath of God. Even though they got ejected for it, Andre came out on top. But Andre wasn't the only one involved in NFL wars, because Albert Haynesworth basically started a war with his crash out. See, in 2006, the Titans were getting cooked by the Cowboys, and frustration among the Titans was through the roof. But then, in the middle of a routine play, that frustration turned into rage.
Touchdown.
Because when Dallas' center Andre Gerard ended up on the turf, and before Gerard could move, Haynesworth looked down, lined up his target, and brought his size 14 cleat down on Gerard's skull. He caught him.
Oh my God. Nah, bro. He better watch his back. From now on, he better watch his back. You don't step, bro, without a helmet. You step on him with cleats. And I know back then they were metal cleats, bro. Oh my goodness, bro. I know he's leaking.
Right above the eye, slicing his face
know
open.
he's-
14 cleat down on Gerard's skull. He
I gotta see that
looked
again,
down,
bro.
lined up his target, and brought his size 14 cleat
Oh
down on
my
Gerard's
God, he
skull.
just-
He caught him right
oh.
above the eye, slicing his face open. Blood went everywhere. Trainers rushed
Oh
in,
my
and Gerard
gosh,
needed 30
bruh.
stitches to close it up. But
30
here's where it gets a little
stitches?
psychotic. Upon watching the replay, the refs realized Haynesworth actually missed his first stomp and went back for another try. When they saw that, they didn't hesitate and threw him out of the game. Haynesworth even got pissed like he did nothing wrong, except casually trying to scalp another player. But his punishment didn't end there. He got
you
hit with
just-
a 5-game suspension, the highest ever at the time, and lost
5 games.
$200,000 from his salary. Good. That's actually insane behavior. With Ryan Leaf, it just came from one hilarious locker room moment, even though his entire career is hilarious. Because the moment he joined the Chargers, Ryan Leaf was a disaster. He skipped meetings, fought with coaches, and put up abysmal numbers on the scoreboard. But Leaf's most iconic moment came from a locker room crash out after a horrendous game. The man only completed 1 pass out of 15, and it was only
You played a whole game as a starting quarterback in the NFL, American football, and got 4 yards, brother? 1 for 15? I could have did that. I'm 5'5". Nah, bro. He could have did a little screenplay, got at least 6. That's insane.
for 4 yards. On top of that, he threw 2 interceptions and had 4 fumbles.
4 fumbles, 2
Unsurprisingly, the
interceptions.
Chiefs clapped his cheeks.
Hey.
So when Leaf went to the locker room, he was seething.
Don't talk to me, all right?
Oh,
Knock it off!
Dude literally sounds like he's on the brink of tears. And to be fair, anyone would be pissed after a loss like that. But
Bro,
IK
mad 'cause he
Polly got pissed
sucked.
for a different kind of loss. During the Jets' 2015 training camp, QB Geno Smith got into a fight with IK in the locker room. See, Polly bought Geno a plane ticket to a football camp in Texas, but Geno didn't go. And even though he promised to pay Polly back, he dodged a Venmo request for over 2 months. So when IK met him in the locker room, he demanded the payment. Geno said he'd get back to him, and an argument started. But as things really started to heat up, IK did something completely unexpected. He hauled back, welded up a hook, and sucker punched Geno so hard he broke his jaw. That
Oh
is
my God.
crazy punching power. IK was released on the spot, and Geno would take weeks to
Yo.
recover. But the craziest part? This wasn't over some Emirates Suite plane ticket. This all happened over $600. But not all crash outs are violent. Some are just straight up cringe.
I remember
Like
watching
when
that
Derek
one.
Anderson lost it during a post-game interview. When the Cardinals were getting blown off the face of the planet by the 49ers, cameras caught quarterback Derek Anderson laughing on the sidelines. No big deal. It's what the average person would think. But when the game ended and the cameras swarmed Derek at the post-game, one reporter made the mistake of asking Derek what he was laughing about.
But why was something funny when you're down 18 points in the fourth quarter?
It wasn't funny. I wasn't laughing about anything.
The camera showed you laughing.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
About it.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not laughing about it. You think this is funny? I take this serious.
I'm
Real
just-
serious. I put my heart and soul into this.
every single week.
Talk
All
your
I'm saying
stuff.
is the camera shows
I'm
you
just
laughing.
telling you right now what I do every single week. Every single week. I put my freaking heart and soul into this. I study my ass off. I don't go out there and laugh. It's not funny. It's not fun. Nothing's funny to me.
He
I don't
was
want to go out there
laughing,
and be
though.
embarrassed on Monday Night Football in front of everybody.
That's why I'm asking you what
I'm
was
telling you right now, we're talking. Deuce and I are talking.
what was the context in
I'm
which
done. Sorry.
Oh,
If he said
shoot,
literally
just, bro.
anything else, no one would have cared. But this dude turned a nothing moment into a public self-execution. No one has ever looked more guilty of laughing than this guy. Now look, there's a lot more Crashouts coming up next. But first, we gotta talk about our sponsor, Huel. Because if you're anything like me, working every second of dreaded I've over had of all vitamin C to support my immune system. But that's not all. It has just the to create a sense the source of 5 cents REDZONE and get the Rams were locked in. Coach noticed he crashed out. It was the week of Super Bowl 37, and the Raiders were locked in. Coaches were working around the clock, and players were laser focused.
Jerry
The
Rice?
energy was intense but electric. Every snap was analyzed, and every player went to every meeting. Well, almost every player. Because at some point, someone stood up, looked around, and asked, "Where the hell is Barrett?" Barrett Robbins, if you didn't know, was the team's starting center. And hours before the Super Bowl, he was nowhere to be found. And wherever they thought he was, they probably would have never guessed Mexico. Yeah, it turned out that Barrett had spiraled into a full manic bipolar episode. And since he wasn't thinking clearly, he hallucinated that the Raiders already won the Super Bowl. So instead of prepping for the real thing, he hopped aboard to Tijuana and was partying like parade was tomorrow. He did miss the actual Super Bowl, but that must have been one hell of a celebration. But there's nothing to celebrate with this next crash
How do you even do
this
that?
might be the most valid crash out in this entire video.
That's
And it
what
all
drugs
happened
do.
because of a 1 in a billion accident. See, in 1999, Browns were playing the Jags, and late in the first half, a ref threw a flag towards Orlando. But back then, flags weren't just cloth. They were weighted sacks of metal ball bearings to make the flag fly farther. And this flag didn't just land near Orlando. It went through the air, through the bars of his face mask, and hit him right in the eye. Orlando dropped immediately. And when the trainers saw the human freight train staying down, they knew something was up. So they rushed the field, helped him up, and started examining him on the sideline. But Orlando wanted payback, so he left the sideline, went right up to the ref, and gave him a light shove. And a light shove from a guy like this is like hitting an F1 car, so he just flattened the ref. Obviously, they had to eject him and suspend him indefinitely for that misconduct. But here's the thing. Brown's father went blind when he was younger, and when you couple those genes with an injury, you get an injury that's worse than anyone suspected. Even though he was suspended, he actually couldn't play if he wanted to, because he was legit losing his vision. He even had to sit out for the rest of the 99 and 2000 season from that injury. So honestly, respect the Brown for only shoving the ref. That one throw basically ruined his career. He ended up suing the NFL for $200 million, claiming negligence for using weighted flags. Eventually, they settled, and the NFL actually changed the way refs throw flags forever. But Vontaze Burfict and Pac-Man Jones pulled a crash out that changed one man's life forever. Because the Bengals were seconds away from breaking their decade-long playoff curse in 2016. Finally, a win in sight. But Vontaze Burfict, the dirtiest player in the league, ruined it all. With 20 seconds left, he lines up Antonio Brown and literally deletes him from existence.
I remember seeing
His helmet
that.
snaps
Oh my
back,
gosh.
and AB is out cold. The ref throws a flag, 15-yard penalty. Pretty painful in the playoffs, but still recoverable. Except, as AB is laying on the ground rebuilding his consciousness, Pac-Man Jones decides to take this from a one-man crash out to a two-man. So he gets into it with some of the Steelers coaches on the field.
He
shoves
really
an official, and
killed
bang,
AB,
another
bro.
15-yard penalty. Back-to-back 15-yard penalties from two guys that couldn't control their temper. Sends the Steelers straight to field goal range.
He
They
hit him
drain
straight
the cake
in the
and send the
head,
Bengals packing.
dude.
The Bengals were literally 2 plays away from their first playoff win in 25 years, and instead, Burfict and Jones throw it all away for their 15 seconds of fame and leave AB's brain rewired forever, which might explain the years and years of crash outs that Antonio Brown has had. Because following the Steelers-Brown incident, his life fell off a cliff. He had a relatively uneventful 2017 season, but by 2018, things were already going downhill. He was causing tension with the Steelers organization, tossing furniture out of his 14th-floor apartment, and was caught driving over 100 miles per hour on the highway. But somehow, by 2019, the Raiders still wanted to sign him. The Raiders management is clearly full of guys who never made it past the 6th grade, because signing AB was a disaster. In August, he suffered frostbite from a cryotherapy chamber, which made him skip practice. Then, when he returned, he refused to wear a league-approved helmet. He legit wanted to wear the same helmet he'd always worn and was ready to retire if he didn't get his way. Eventually, he calmed down and came back on the 12th after missing 2 full weeks.
Bro,
The next
AB
week, though,
was still
the NFL
cold,
actually listened to
though.
him, so they gave him the year to phase out his old helmet. And even though that still pissed him off, the GM was basically like, either wear the damn helmet or you're gone. So he wore the helmet and then posted pictures of all the fines he received for missing practice in early August. But that wasn't all. He then went face to face with the GM at practice, cussed him out.
All that one hit, fam, that one hit AB took right there, constructed every wire in his brain to just intrusive thoughts. He just stopped caring, bro. That's crazy. That CTE is real,
Called him a
bro.
cracker and had to be held back by Vontez Perfect. You literally can't make this up. And the next day, he came back like nothing happened and then posted again, showing off his $215,000 fine for the GM incident. And in the same post, he begged to be released from the Raiders. They happily accepted. But for whatever down bad reason, the Patriots signed him the next day for $15 million. That's like losing your job at Starbucks and then getting hired by Amazon. But unfortunately for AB, there was another turnaround right after. Sexual assault allegations. So the Patriots dumped him too. He bounced to the Bucs next. Got to win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. And then, as he was riding that high, even more went wrong. In 2022, during a game with the Jets, he took his uniform off mid-game, jogged across the end zone, and straight up dipped. That. Bro took a page out of Sue's book and crashed out for no reason. But the final nail in his coffin? Attempted murder. Seriously. In 2025, he was at a celebrity boxing event in Miami when a fight broke out. Ironic, but AB, being who he is, decided to take it a little too far when he grabbed the security guard's gun. He fired 2 shots. One missed, one hit a guy's neck. And when the police recovered the shells, they charged him with attempted murder. But by that point, Brad was safe, not because he turned himself in or that he was hiding in a friend's crib. Nah, he straight up left the country and flew to Dubai. So unless he crashes out again there and has to fly back to the US, he'll be a free man till the end. The same can't be said about Richie Incognito. Because even though he had a similar trajectory to AB, one career-long crash out, nothing compares to what happened to him after football. But it all started before he was even in the NFL. Because back at Nebraska, he was a bum waiting to go off. He was bulldozing defenders way after the whistle, talking trash to refs, and even throwing hands with teammates. And as Richie racked up ejections like they were trophies, skipped mandated anger management programs, the school eventually decided they had enough. But the NFL was still willing to give him a shot. And honestly, what a smooth brain decision that ended up being. Because in the NFL, he wasn't just known, he was legendary for being dirty and consistently showed up in the top 3 dirtiest players list every single year. Dude was gouging people's eyes out, dishing out late hits, and getting into scuffles every game. But on the field, out-of-pocket contact was just the beginning of Richie's downfall. He could have shrugged off the flags, fines, and ejections till he dropped. But the first real nail in the coffin? Bullygate. See, during his time on the Miami Dolphins, he was teammates with Jonathan Martin, a black player. And even though race normally wouldn't matter, in this case, it was the entire conversation. Because in 2013, Martin accused Richie of relentless, brutal harassment, including violent threats against Martin's mother, himself, and an unbelievable amount of homophobic and racial slurs.
Or your own
fans alike were
teammate?
skeptical, and then everything got made public.
Hey, what's up? You half piece of shit. I saw you on Twitter. You've been training 10 weeks. I want to come in your mouth. I'm gonna your mouth. I'm gonna slap your real mother across the face. You're still a rookie. I'll kill you.
Sounds like an average kind of to me. And according to Shannon Crowder, that's just how Richie was.
He is a guy that needs to know his place with you. He tries to test you to see if you have enough manhood, if you have enough testosterone to put that line in the dirt. To tell him, Richie, you're going to go so far with me, and then I'm not going to deal with it anymore. I don't know if Jonathan Martin ever put that line in the dirt or if he knew he was getting tested.
Fair point, but I like Shannon Sharp's take better.
This tells me everything I need to know about the Miami Dolphins locker room. How we got here and why we got here. Because so many people, if you don't understand it, because I'm 45, I grew up in rural South Georgia. Maybe I'm a disconnect with me, JB. Maybe it's me. Just ask your parents, ask your grandparents, the mountain that they climbed so a black person in America could have respect, could have dignity, and you allow this. in an open locker room to take place is
That's
unacceptable.
facts. That's
Exactly.
facts.
And when that's supposed to be your brother, things obviously hit different. So Richie was
supposed
suspended,
to be his
shamed,
bro?
and exiled from the league.
Bro,
But if you
forget
thought that
him.
was rock bottom for him, you don't know Richie. In 2018, when he was well out of football, he was found by police raging inside a gym. This 300-pound
Threw a
monster
dumbbell
was
at a
throwing
man in the
weights,
gym?
yelling about top-secret NSA missions, and scaring everyone so bad, they put him on a 72-hour psychiatric hold. That
Oh my
was just the
gosh.
warm-up. Richie's final crash out had him one step short of pulling an OJ. Because when his dad died later that year, he lost all grip on reality and crashed out like no one else on this list. This dude walked into the funeral home not to say goodbye, but to explode with rage. He was punching the wall, throwing over caskets, and yelling at employees. But the
Yo.
craziest part? He demanded the staff to cut off his dad's head for, in his own
Yo.
words, research purposes. When they understandably said no, he
Oh,
threatened
nah,
to
he
kill
weird,
them all
bro.
with guns in his truck. Someone thankfully called the cops, and they arrested him in the parking lot.
Keep
After
him
confirming
locked
he
up,
did indeed
bruh.
have a lot
What's
of
wrong
guns
with
in his
you?
truck. Richie went from college fights to dirty player dominance to locker room scandals to public breakdowns. This man probably just got bullied for being fat growing up and decided to crash out on the entire world.
It's crazy because you made it, bro. What's the point of crashing out, dog? He made it, so it's no point of... I don't know, but I don't know. But if you enjoyed that video, man, give it a like, give it a subscribe. I'm out, y'all. Y'all stay blessed, stay positive. Like always, man, stay out the way. That's crazy, bro. Ain't no way he just really went out and did that, though.